Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Hi there.
Hey.
We're back in Florida, as you can see by that palm tree right there.
Exactly. A little bit different seed than we had up in North Carolina, which by the time we left had the leaves had fallen. It's getting a little bit cold for us. So.
Yeah, it was really cool to be up there and see from the beginning all the beautiful green leaves, and here we are. And then see everything fall,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was just time to come back to Florida for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, we wanted to be a little bit more consistent in how we're showing up. We had some people that were missing us, and we've had lots of questions come in regarding, I guess, well, are we willing to talk about some things? Or John and I want to talk about some things here live,
Yeah.
and how do we want to go about that? You know, we made a pact to start getting. Well, actually, you always get up early. I decided to follow suit. About getting up even earlier than I already was. So this morning was the 5:30, 5:45 wake up call. And oof, that was tough this morning for me. But actually,
Yeah,
just
but you did it.
it was for
You did
15
it.
minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I have a
Yeah.
standing client at 7 o'clock on Monday mornings, and who I absolutely adore. So I always look forward to talking to her and her perspective on life, and just what we've done over the last year working together. So I always look forward to Mondays. But yeah, I realized that I needed to let you lead me into waking up.
Yeah, and you were in on the bike at like
I went at
6
6:30.
6:30.
Oh my God, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, and on the
Yeah,
bike spinning
yeah,
at
I know.
6:30. So that was beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, we're just so I feel good this morning about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because energetically too, we have different profiles into what really gets us into energy rich, and we happen to be great um, for each other. When everything fires and goes up, it's wonderful. But structure, that morning structure, is something that really helps me, really energizes me to kind of just wake up and go into the structure part of it. To be doing something in a structure really energizes
Well,
me.
I think honestly it helps everybody. It's just a matter of, are you willing to actually, dive into a lot of people, everybody that we've ever studied under talk about morning routine and what
Yeah.
that's about. But everybody's morning routine can be different. And regarding the masculine, feminine, not just man, woman, but what I learned a couple years ago that really, really helped me, ladies, especially when we are in that space of operating for the masculine, and we really don't want to do that quite as much, but we need the masculine honestly to get things done, is
Mm-hmm.
to actually have a masculine, like a time block where you're within that
Yeah.
masculine time
Yeah.
block,
Yeah.
ladies, that you actually can have your flow time, and that way it doesn't feel so rigid. And when I
Yeah.
changed my calendar to be like that, um, a couple years ago, I found that was a lot more juicy and a lot less, I guess, rigid and such. And I know that when I do go back to the old pattern of not having any fluffy time in the middle of my schedule, that I know you've seen me just,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not very
Yeah.
much fun to
Yeah.
be around. So yeah, anyway, I just want to share that if you notice that, you are, ladies, if you are feeling crunchy in that space, take a look at your calendar, how you're structuring yourself. Are
Yeah.
you literally doing things back to back to back to back with no fluff time? And have you actually bracketed some time to be able
Yeah.
to just lean into some gooiness?
Yeah, and men, similar exercise for us, right? It can be very easy to get structured, but get overly structured, right? So, what's the balance of structure that works best for you, where you aren't reacting all day, right? That'll really, if your woman sees you just reacting all day long, all day long, all day long, that's really
Yeah.
unsettling. Like you'll feel unsafe. But what's the right
Yeah.
balance of structure
Mhm.
with some flow within that?
And actually, I mean, it's not just men, it's actually our toxic masculine ladies too, that when we're so overly scheduled
Mm,
and we're not also looking at how our schedule and how our, are we going for the goal to the point where actually everyone around us is absolutely miserable, or they're being neglected? And I'm not just talking about family. I mean, maybe people that you're responsible for, maybe they're your employees and
mm,
such. So, that's something interesting, I think, John, about how us teaching about the masculine, feminine. It's really not just gender based. It's
right,
actually the
exactly,
two essences in
exactly.
one, which is always fascinating, especially when, I know for me, when I speak to a group of successful women in the workspace,
Yeah,
CEOs or what
yeah.
have you, they're like, wait a minute. So that's what that is? Okay, got it. So I just want to make sure that we point that out too. This is not just gender based,
Yeah.
although it seems like it could be. And it can, but it's not always. So
Yeah,
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 yeah.
no, exactly. And it leads to, I'm going to use this to segue to something we wanted to talk about too is kind of how do we affect it? We talk about when we don't have the boundaries, then the toxic masculine can kind of take control and can take over. And, what are people doing for boundaries for the holidays? This is always a time where the holidays is a time that I think tests boundaries for a lot of people.
Of course. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think actually COVID has already set boundaries for us, to be
Yeah,
honest with you.
yeah.
And so, like I've been talking a lot to friends and clients, and we've been talking too, because
Hmm.
we actually had our Thanksgiving plans got canceled. We were supposed to have our entire family going to the beach with, John's four
Yeah,
brothers and
yeah,
sisters and the
yeah,
four parents and all. And we're not doing that now because of honestly because of COVID. So I think the key is just to have a conversation ahead of time about what you really desire. And I mean, we that got stripped from us, so we don't even have the opportunity. But what I
right.
see has happened is that to be able to talk about what it is that you need and what do these
Yeah,
people need?
yeah,
What do they need for them to feel safe? What do they need to feel comfortable? Even before Thursday happens or Hanukkah happens or Christmas happens, because the truth is your home may be you may be practicing social distancing outside, but you may want to actually be hugging people when
yeah,
they come in the
yeah.
door. And yes, you want to be respectful of where they are, but go ahead and cover all that stuff before someone even
Yeah.
they even ring the
Yeah,
doorbell.
I think that's a key point, right? Because one of the things that we'll work with our clients on so many times is on boundaries, having that boundary in place, understanding what your boundary is, having that boundary, being aware of that boundary before you go into a situation that's going to test it, right? Because if you're trying to just build the boundary on the fly and emotions are coming into play and everything else is going on, you're not setting yourself up for success at all. But knowing ahead of time, this is going to be a challenge for me, or, people are going to have, as you were talking about, babe, like people have different boundaries around COVID or quarantine, or people may have different boundaries around who shows up at whose house.
Well, even something like before COVID, I remember we had a tradition growing up that on Christmas Eve we would open up one present. And I that's not always the case for some people, and that can leave people feeling like and when family comes to visit and they're spending the night like well we don't have I don't have that. I mean
Right.
that sounds so simple and silly, but it's true. It's amazing in the holidays. It really brings up our childhood stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that back to the masculine space, let's take it back to what I love to talk about, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
is I think that whoever, if you're a single mom, for example, I mean, and you're hosting, then your sacred masculine needs to step in and do exactly what John mentioned. And if you are the man of the house or whoever's
Mhm.
primarily the male essence leading, that
Mhm.
to actually ask those questions like, honey, what would make what would make this
Yeah.
holiday amazing for you? Keep COVID out of it for a minute, and then see if you can deliver that. And then for a lot of the single moms out there, or what have you, single and maybe no kids, what is it that you really need? What would be nourishing for you?
Yeah.
And it's not just about. I think if COVID's done anything for us, we've all heard this, is that it's allowed us to slow down and really focus on what's important.
Yeah, and it really it's amazing because it will really drain us if we don't have the right boundaries in place. When I was younger, I didn't have a good boundary system set up. So every parent that asked to go to Thanksgiving, right, we were in the car driving to go to Thanksgiving, and we did three Thanksgivings in one day at one time, right?
What?
Yeah, we did three Thanksgivings, and it was finally like, wait a second, this is far too much. We got to have some boundaries around how much time we're willing to
Who did
dedicate
that?
to families. It
Who was
was,
it?
it was,
Was you?
yeah,
Oh, so you
yeah.
were the one going to three
No, that's what
families.
I'm saying. Yeah,
Oh, I thought you meant like
yeah.
your parents were hauling
No,
you around.
no,
No,
no. I did
no.
that to
I
myself.
think whoever has the hostages, everybody comes to you. So and hostages would be your children. So
Yeah, but
yeah,
I think that there's also what is defining it ahead of time, right? It was I had to go through the
yeah,
practice of what is actually reasonable, what's right for us. Is it are we traveling without we didn't have kids, but are we traveling without kids? Are we traveling with kids? Who's coming where? How many are we actually willing to do? Even if everyone's in town, right? How many meals are you willing to do
yeah.
at one day?
Well, in my sacred she's the society, which people can pop in and out. And it's a little, it was fast. We did a whole talk around, that it's absolutely okay to
Mhm.
say no, like this
Yeah.
embodied
Yeah.
no practice. Like,
Yeah.
this year we've decided that we're going to do whatever. It could be go to Hawaii. It could be, we've decided we're just going to have an intimate picnic on the floor
Yeah.
with just, my partner and our 3 kids or whatever that is, right? I think it's important to just, and women, I know you probably don't understand this, but
Mhm.
we have a very hard time, saying no, and a lot of times speaking our truth, because it's primal. We think that we possibly could be unloved if we actually speak our truth, or someone is going to tap out of the relationship. And even in the most healthy, even though I feel like I'm pretty healthy, I can still say there's still, I call it whack-a-mole. There's something that comes up and I think, oh no, am I going to lose their love? Yeah, it's interesting too. And I know too, I thought about this today when I was journaling this morning, that something that used to come up for me and my pat before you and I met,
Mm-hmm.
before I really went into this healing space, is that it seemed like I would attract partners that knew how much I desired extended family. And my dad had passed, and my mom it doesn't live close, and I don't see her that often. And so it was a way that I realize now that they used it as a way to like draw me in. And it was also what they would do passive aggressively to push me away and punish me if I wasn't, what they wanted me to be, or didn't. It was that very toxic space. I am happy to say I've upgraded it, and I do not attract those people in my life anymore. I can smell it like yesterday's trash.
Mm-hmm.
So, which again is something really cool, I think, that you and I do with the clients that we have,
Yeah.
and such. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is the unattractive, conversation of like, what are you doing for the holidays? But with that said, I'm going to actually ask. I don't even know this about you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like cranberry sauce?
Yeah.
Do you like the canned jelly stuff?
Yes.
That
is not without the cranberries in it.
Yeah.
Yep. The canned jelly stuff that is probably horrible for you.
I'm
but
curious
it's
for
the
y'all.
best
For
when
y'all,
you slice it.
please comment and let us know. Are you like the fresh, or do you like the can where it just goes bloop and it has the ridges from the can, or do you like the actual berries? I personally like the long tube. I don't eat a lot of processed things anymore, but I will say that's something I love. Yeah, the other thing we wanted to share, and is that we actually have this really cool PDF that we want to send you, and it's essentially a lot of
Jerry's
right. I actually like it
Love
too. I really do. But it's fascinating how that's another thing that could be. What do you mean you don't like that? I don't know. So this actually spawned conversation between John and I about asking family members. I don't know if y'all know, but John's father has recently, he's in remission, praise God, and he's free, cancer free,
which is wonderful.
But we came up with this PDF about questions to ask your family members, questions to ask your parents, primarily, really, so these things about your family can be passed down. In divorce, it seems one of the things that the research shows is that less and less children and their children and their children generations to come don't know a whole lot about their ancestry, about their generations before them. And so we decided to kind of come up with different teachers. We kind of put some things together, and we put our own spin on it of questions to ask, so you can leave this legacy. And it may be deeper questions than, do you like cranberry sauce? But ways you can get to know the people in your life.
I have an example of this. I had a great uncle who passed away a few years ago, but he was like 94 before he passed away. So he lived just a long, long life, and he was the last in that generation of family members, right, that was still alive. And I would go visit him, and we would have these great discussions, and just something simple that came up. I found a census record from 1935 that had his name in it as a little boy, and his family's name and everything like that. And I was showing it to him, and I asked the question. I said, well, why is, the Hall, right? Why is the Hall family listed next on the census? Because it's not alphabetical order. What made it be that way? And this whole beautiful story came out of how my grandmother would walk to school, right? She walked to the school bus, and my grandmother and all her younger brothers would walk to the school bus, and they would walk by the field where my grandfather was working. He had his own farm plot, right? And so he literally saw her walk by every single
Oh,
day before he married her, and they were married for over 50 years, before he passed away. And it was just this beautiful story
it's
that
so
came out,
beautiful.
right? That really impacted me as well. Like that's how they fell
Yeah.
in love. And so these stories that come out,
Yes.
I think when you ask these questions and you get this rich story of
Yeah.
the heritage that's just so beautiful.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I love that. That actually reminds me of Ruth and Boaz in the Bible.
yeah,
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 right?
yeah,
Y'all
yeah,
know the story of Ruth
yeah,
and Boaz in the Bible.
yeah.
So, yeah, that's really awesome. I would do anything now to have my granddaddy, Nussbaum especially. He had a dry goods store in Branchville, South Carolina, and they lived above the store. And the store, I mean, he was just this, people loved him in Branchville. I mean, he was like Mr. Phillip. I would love to have my granddad. I'm gonna start crying. I'm a
Oh,
granddad here to share his stories, and then of course my dad's passed, and there's a lot of things that I do know, but there's a lot of things I don't know. So I'd like for my son Cameron to be able to share this with his grandchildren, and I know you with with your kids. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely. And,
yeah.
and in fact, I want to add to that because I remember when we were in North Carolina and we went to that old country store, that historic
Oh
old
my
country store,
goodness,
and we
yes,
walked in the store, and all of a sudden, babe, you were looking around, going, "Oh, this reminds me of my granddaddy's store. This, he had this and this, and this was a
yes,
little different, but it was very much designed like this." And it's just, I think there's such richness in heritage and the legacy. So if you're interested in this,
yes.
put a heart in the comment below. We've
Hmm.
already got one, which is awesome. Put a heart in the comment below. We'll DM you. We'll get you the information to get you that to be able to download it.
Yeah, yeah, we'll send that to you
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
I mean, just
yeah,
something fun to have, whether you use it for Thanksgiving dinner or not.
yeah,
I actually know, I know several people that are actually having virtual Thanksgiving dinners, and it's just a great way to get to know the people that you already know,
yep,
right?
yep, yep.
So yeah. So anyway, good to see you guys again.
Yeah, great.
Um,
So Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. we'll be on live. This Friday, we're not. You're gonna get a little video or a post from us because it's after Thanksgiving.
yeah,
But Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9
perfect.
a.m.
Yeah.
Heart in the comment below if you
Yeah,
want that.
please, please,
Yeah,
please. Yeah, we'd love
yeah,
to share this with you.
yeah.
It's pretty neat, and people are loving it. So we look forward to talking to you guys soon. See you.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye.